for the members to get to know the positions a little bit better. So we're going to have all the chairs from the 2019-2020 year present. They're going to have 5 minutes to speak about their position, their responsibilities, what advice they have. Then we're going to move on to the 3-minute Q&A session for each chair. We're going to answer as many questions as we can during those 3 minutes, but if we don't answer your question in those 3 minutes, we'll have another Q&A session at the very end. And this is just so that we don't go as long as 3 hours like we did in the leadership panel for eBoard. Wang will be helping out with the chair.
I think we lost Andrea.
Andrea.
Down.
So I want to continue with what Andrea was saying. So I'll be looking at the chat. So after every chair presentation, there will be 3 minutes that you can ask questions in that chair. So please let me know your question in the chat, or if you'd like to say your question, then just open your mic and let me know.
All right, sorry I cut off. I'm going to be presenting my screen so you can all see the slides of each chair. So I'll go ahead and present my screen.
And I want to ask everyone to please take a moment to mute your all mic so we all can hear better. Thank you.
All right, can everyone see my screen?
I see the slides. I see them.
I see them.
Right. So the first chair is going to be Imar Velasquez. Oops, sorry. Athletics chair. Imar, go ahead.
I don't see him in the meeting.
Imar's not in here?
He was, but I don't see him anymore.
Okay, it might be connectivity issues because I also got kicked out for a second.
Can you hear me?
Oh, Imar? Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Go for it.
Y'all hear me good? Okay.
Yes, sir. Go for it.
All right, cool. So first of all, sorry for the lack of pictures. My phone was messed up. I only had 2 in my computer. These are only 2 that I had. So the main responsibilities and events for really the athletic chair is the main one is, since at school we have the sports, we have the rec. So the main thing that the athletic chair does is make sure those members that want to play and that want to exercise and want to join a team, just to make sure that you put them in and try to have a team going for like each sport in the rec. This past year, the only 2 sports that I didn't have people for was football and basketball. But sports like soccer, volleyball, those get taken up pretty quick. Like I had like 2 teams for like soccer and like 2 teams for volleyball, couple teams, 2 for dodgeball. So it really depends. Like the members, if they want to play, they're gonna come to you, and like you'll typically help all our members to make like a couple teams. Another big responsibility, like this is probably the biggest one, is Lone Star Showdown. This past semester, we were able to do it at UT, which is a great event. It's really fun. You go out to we went to Austin, which is a really good place overall. I mean, this semester was supposed to be at A&M, but if you're not hosting it, obviously you're just gonna your main responsibility is to be responsive, communicate with them to help them out with how many members they need at their event. But we're supposed to host it next semester, so you'll be responsible for that and actually trying to get everything going for Lone Star Showdown. Advice and key takeaways for this position, I'll say, will be just have fun with it. Be very disciplined. Don't be procrastinating, but just be having fun with it. Go to the games, connect with the members. I've met so many people through athletic chair, just through soccer, and that was a really good friendship that I made. And use this position to still network. Being athletic chair, you can still use that as a way to network and actually make a lot of good relationships. As well, making the shirt. If you want to make a shirt for the upcoming year, you have the power to do that. So that's another thing you can do. Have fun with it. Something that I could have done differently was definitely be on campus more. So I commute from Cyprus, and that's like to work around the schedule. Like I'll definitely want to be on campus more, just to go to the games and just to have more time to actually do a lot of that, to like be involved as much. And that'll be it for really the athletic chair.
Thank you so much, Iman. So now the floor is open to all the questions for the athletic chairs. So feel free to unmute your mic and ask your questions. If you don't want to say your question, you can also put it in the chat.
Yeah, any questions?
So probably Ima, I want to ask you a question. So I know that you're planning the Lonsa Shonda, which is a very big event every semester, and you have to collaborate with like the other university. So how do you plan that? So could you please walk me through the process of planning it?
Oh yeah, for sure. So typically you'll get it from like the previous chair that had the contacts for like A&M, Rice, UT, and like other schools that were involved. So you'll eventually get the contacts for them, and then you'll get who the recent athletic chair is. So whoever's hosting it, for example, last year for UT, the guy that was the athletic chair for UT, he'll ask questions about how many members do I plan on taking, because UT had to pay like the members pass for each one. So just really like that. I mean, if you're not hosting it, you just have to be responsible to like give them the information they need so they go smoothly with planning the event. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to host a Lone Star, so I wouldn't really be able to speak a lot on that end. But I'm pretty sure it'll be around the same, planning way to like contact somewhere where you can have the event, see how many members are going to be there, if there's a cost for having those members there, and just like I said, just staying on top of it, like not leaving it last minute, because it's still an event that needs to be planned correctly and definitely needs some focus into it.
Well, see, I'm seeing no questions, so I'm just gonna ask the second one from my side. So what's the best thing that you feel like that you learned from being our athletic chairs?
The best thing that I took away from it, like it's just in any aspect or like just in general?
Yeah, this could be any aspect.
Definitely, it taught me how to manage a lot of my time. So like throughout being athletic chair, even though that I wasn't playing with a lot of teams, because the only sport that I really play is soccer, I had to still like try to put that in my schedule to try to attend it, like try to be there as a coach. Like so for the volleyball games, I wouldn't really play, but I still want to like be there to like just cheer on or like just having it in my schedule. So trying to fit that in, and definitely just being like time management helped me out a lot. And then also like networking, like I said, I was able to actually meet new people, like new friends that I can that I'm cool with now. So it's definitely a great way like overall to just like be productive throughout the year.
Okay, thank you, Ima. So now we are back to Andrea.
Wait, I have a question. Sorry. Hello.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Ima, I have a question.
Yeah.
So as an athletic chair, one of the big things is that you have to be super involved with all the members, especially because you have to get teams together and coordinate that they actually attend the practices and the games and everything. What would you say that was a challenging part about that? Because for me, I see it as something that is kind of like challenging.
Like the challenge, that's the thing I would like to do differently. Just be on campus more. So commuting with somebody, I'll make this like really quick. Just commuting with somebody, it's tough to work with two schedules, especially you being as like chair position. You probably have a little bit more like responsibilities on campus. But with my cousin, she was always the type to like wanted to go to class and then just go home. Like she didn't like never wanted to be on campus. So it was just like hard to like work with her, because if I don't take her home, like my aunt's gonna be mad at me, and then I have to like find a ride for myself, or like she needs to find, so it was like a big, like, I'll just always be with her. So just definitely being on campus more. That's what made it like really challenging for me, like just trying to work my schedule around that.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, and if no further questions, we're going to move on to our next chair, which is the Community Outreach Chair, aka Alex Martinez.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, okay. Hi, I'm Alice. I'm the community outreach chair. So a little bit about the position. As the name says, you do a lot of the planning for the community outreach, whether that's volunteering or STEM outreach, any kind of those things. The main responsibilities, number one is Noche de Ciencias. So I was told that I had to have one per semester. Obviously, the second one didn't happen because of Corona. And then another event that is also mandatory is the Girls Engineering the Future. And that's a second semester event, which also did not happen because of Corona. So those are the two main events that, as the chair, you're going to have to do. And then after those two events, basically all of the community outreach that is done after that point is based on you. So it's either things like you can Google events and look for what's happening that month, or companies or schools will send emails to the chapter, and then the chapter will email those emails to you and tell you if you're interested in doing that. So there's a lot of, I guess, openness to this in how you can focus on community outreach or focus on schools, whatever you want to do. And then also this semester or this year, robotics, everything that was going on with the robotics was pretty much part of this chair. The robotics isn't necessarily a, I guess, mandatory task for the chair. It's just kind of something that I was doing sophomore year, and then when I transitioned to junior year, it kind of just stuck. So I don't know if the chapter is going to continue with robotics or not, but I think from what I was told, it's good to encourage the future community outreach chair to continue the robotics, because on the other end, from the professional side, they want to continue robotics with SHPE. So I think it would work out well, because not many SHPE chapters are doing robotics. Yeah, so that pretty much sums up the main responsibilities. Some advice and some key takeaways. Always start planning early. So for Noche de Ciencias, I had a contact from the previous semester chair, and so we already knew the school that we were going to do it with before the semester even started. And then also for the volunteering events, plan early to try and get the dates scheduled on the calendar. For a lot of the events, certain events only happen on certain days. So like maybe, I know like Bayou does a monthly cleanup. Maybe that monthly cleanup is on a Saturday, but that event is already booked by another chair. So then you can't do that event. So trying to book things as early as possible will be best for you. And also know that there's events that happen on specific days. Like I said, the monthly Bayou cleanup, things like that. But there's also a lot of good volunteering opportunities that you can schedule on any day of the week. For example, when we volunteered for the house, that was very easy. We told them what time we could go, what day we could make it, and they were open to letting us go whenever we wanted. Yes, and then what I wish I could have done differently, one was create a committee to help with Noche de Ciencias. And then two, for the second semester, was to reach out to schools sooner, again, for Noche de Ciencias. And then overall, just doing everything sooner, because the semester really sneaks up on you, and then if you wait too long, a lot of the times like dates are already taken, so then you have to plan around those dates. You're limited on your events, things like that. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Alex. So now the floor is open for all the questions. So Alex, tell me, I know you've done a lot. You've been to like many high school and you've done a lot of outreach events. So tell me, what's the best part being an outreach chair?
I think the best part is just like knowing that you impacted something in a good way. Well, I'd say there's two parts. One would be knowing that you impacted something in a good way. I have had like kids at the end of events, like at, well, this wasn't my event, but at a conference, I volunteered for some event, and some kid looked at me and he was like, "This is one of the best days of my life. I need to," or like, I really like STEM now. Obviously, it was an event hosted by Lockheed Martin, so it was kind of more upscale, right? But just kind of having like those reactions, I've gotten those reactions multiple times at different volunteering events, and that always kind of touches, you know, and lets you know she did something different. And then also like seeing people meet and kind of get closer while volunteering, and like seeing people just kind of open up a little bit and getting to know them outside of school. Those are the two main points that I liked.
I have a question for you, Alex. Based on all the responsibilities and the planning that it takes to kind of do all of these outreach community events, how much of a time commitment do you think this position takes?
I think that's really dependent on how efficient you are with your planning. I think if you do everything early and are able to choose solid events and get everything done on time, I don't think it should take that much time, because a lot of the work is like so you find an event, you get the date, you see if that works with your other events that the org has, and then if it works, okay, we schedule it, and then you'll make a Google Doc form for people to sign up, and you'll probably send that Google Doc form to the secretary or someone who will send it out an email. So it's just, so the planning can take a bit, sometimes like finding the actual events that you want to do. There's a lot of events. But then also it's just kind of like the days prior, making sure that the people that signed up still remember about the event and are still ready to go. I wouldn't say it takes that much time. Not like, definitely if you're full-time, it's not going to be something that's going to affect your grades too much, in my opinion. I don't think it should be that bad. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
So could you talk a little bit more about Noche de Ciencias and like what goes into that, the planning, what is expected? Thank you.
Yes. So like I said, so for us, we had a connection from the prior semester that we reached out to. So finding the high school wasn't that difficult. But so what we were doing the second semester was when we didn't have a contact, or we weren't going to go back to the same school. So it would have been more of a reaching out to the SHPE juniors or reaching out to other high schools that people were familiar with. So the first step is just reaching out, making a point of contact, getting someone in the school that's cares about I think that's the most important, is getting someone in the school that actually cares about the program and wants to see it successful, because you can do everything that you can in your power, but at the end of the day, if the school doesn't promote it and the school doesn't put their effort in, it's not going to be as successful as you want it, right? So after that, you basically have to plan the whole event. So Noche de Ciencias is basically an outreach event for middle school to high school students. We'll do an activity, a STEM activity with them, and then usually like present to them about the chapter and then college and talk to them and things like that. So this is why I said you should have a committee, because you have to plan the event, the STEM activities that you'll have themselves. What do you want the kids to do? And then you also have to plan presentations. So someone should talk about SHPE, someone should talk about scholarships and FAFSA, someone could talk about applying to college, things like that. So the thing that happened with our Noche de Ciencias this year, another very important thing is don't do Noche de Ciencias on a Friday, because we did Noche de Ciencias on a Friday, and it just wasn't a good idea. You could tell that some of the teachers didn't want to be spending their Friday night kind of like chaperoning the kids, and you could tell that some of the kids were there for, I don't know, but yeah, don't do it on a Friday. But yeah, so that's most of the planning that goes into it. If you have a committee of, I'd say like 3 to 4 people, it shouldn't be that bad. But I would not recommend doing the whole event by yourself.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Alex. And now we are back to Andrea.
All right, next up we have Career Fair Chair Jocelyn Castillo.
Hi, this is Jocelyn, the interim Career Fair Chair. Being the Career Fair Chair has a lot of responsibilities. You will be in contact with the Career Fair Center and other organizations. A lot of your responsibilities are in attending monthly meetings during the summer in preparation for the Career Fair. It is very front loaded, so you should be expecting to do a lot of work in the early part of the semester. and leading up to the career fair and any other events prior to that. You will also be in charge of coordinating volunteers for the career fair. We do have, different events that we will be needing volunteers for, as well as the day of. You will have to be proactive and attentive at all the career fair related events, including pre-registration. You will oversee logistics for career fair, networking socials, both spring and fall semesters. You will also be working with platinum sponsors and coordinate information sessions for those, and also be active and attend all career fair events, bring new ideas, be innovative, and as a career fair chair, you will have a committee of, I would say, maybe 3 to 5 people. And your job is to delegate some of these tasks so that you're not doing everything on your own. Having the committee will help you kind of organize everything and spread out a lot of the tasks, because it is a lot of work. And I'll hand it over to Juan Ramirez to continue talking about the advice and key takeaways. Juan?
All right, what's up, guys? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I didn't do the whole year, so this is a whole year commitment. I did 6 months, but either way, I got a full experience. I got to work with one-on-one with professionals, and I got to know them. That's probably the best part of this, being a part of the committee, because you get to meet new contacts, and you get your leadership skills, interpersonal skills, and time management. I got to lead one of the events prior to the career fair, which was pretty cool. You have to be a team player, prioritize, be organized, and you have to represent SHPE, SWE, NSBE, Cullen College, and U of H professionally at all times. And also you get to wear the red blazer, which is really cool. I mean, you get full exposure to other companies, and they recognize you because you're, oh, look, this guy is leading the whole career fair, so he must be important. So you kind of have stay behind from other people, because the company is going to recognize you and they're going to know who you are. You have to be attentive to any of the needs. You have to kind of go around and tell the volunteers what to do and kind of push them to do stuff, but that's part of the job. Everything leading to it is, it's pretty great. I really like being part of the committee. Some of the things I would have done differently, maybe have a better relationship with the professionals, get to know them better. That way next semester they already know your face and they already know who you are. So it's yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Jocelyn and Juan. So now the floor is open for questions for the career fair chair. So for your information, career fair chairs and career fair committees are the people who wearing a red blazer at the career fair. So if you have seen the red blazer at the career fair, so they are from the career fair committee. So Jocelyn, why nobody asked question yet? I want to ask you the question. So I know that I've seen the career fair. It's very hectic. It's a lot of people, and sometimes it can be very busy. So how do you manage that? And what was the hardest part of planning the career fair to you?
I think I guess the hardest part of planning the career fair is making sure that everybody was on the same page. We did have a lot of meetings leading up to it. And that's why it's important to attend all of these meetings so that you know where, because all the different organizations between SHPE, SWE, and NSBE have different tasks leading up to it. So you have to make sure that everything is sort of set in place so that the day of you're not scrambling and everything's crazy, because it can get very hectic. So you have to have. We did set up a Google Drive where we shared all the information. So making sure that we stayed in communication with everybody helped a lot.
Yeah. To add to what she said, basically, it could get really hectic. You have to be there at 6 a.m. all the way to like 5 p.m. Um, you have a lot of volunteers that you have to look over, a lot of things that you have to do at the same time. But I mean, for me, basically, I like the rush. I love the rush. So it was a pretty fun, pretty exciting moment for me. I mean.
Yeah, I also wanted to add the day of, it gets really hectic. And sometimes, you have people asking you, oh, what do I do with this? And, what do I do with X, Y, and Z? You have to think on your feet. You have to think quickly because you can't stop and say like, oh, I need to ask somebody else. Let me ask someone who might know that. You have to think and, problem solve on the spot and figure out what you need to do to keep the ball rolling.
Great. So what was the biggest takeaway as a career fair chair?
The biggest takeaway in terms of benefits, or can you be a little bit more specific?
Yeah, it can be anything that you feel like that you learned from, or yeah.
I think the biggest takeaway from being in the career fair chair was the exposure that I had to working with with a group of people, communicating with a lot of professionals, and actually a lot of the benefits that I got from it were a big perk. It was a lot of work, but overall, being exposed, having the red blazer, I was very beneficial because, like Juan said, the employers know that, you've worked, the several months leading to this day, and they know that you've put in that time and effort to that. So it makes you stand out amongst other students. So I think that would be one of my biggest takeaways of the benefits that you have of being the career fair chair.
And
Alright.
to add to that, basically, sorry.
Sorry, we only have time for one question, so I would leave that to Marcos to ask the question because we have to move on.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how would you say you balance your own efforts to network and to connect with employers and with your own career fair chair responsibilities, and to ensure that everybody has the opportunity to do that?
So for me, so you have info sessions before the career fair. So you kind of have that connection with the recruiter beforehand. So they kind of already know who you are. So you do your networking there. When the career fair comes, your main responsibility is to make sure everything goes smoothly. At the end of the career fair, you're gonna have like maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour, where everything's gonna slow down. That's whenever you have the chance to maybe talk to other companies, make your connections, talk to recruiters. But your main focus is basically making sure everything's right.
All right. So Andrea, it's back to you.
Perfect. So the next chair we are going to be, Juan, there you go. There's another slide.
Yeah.
Engineering Events Coordinator, Isabel Espinosa.
Okay, can you all hear me? Yeah. All right, so I'm Isa, I'm the current engineering events coordinator, and some of the main responsibilities are to fundraise money for SHPE, and this money is given to use to give our members scholarships and also sponsorship to several, like the National Convention, RLDC. I like repeated myself twice when I said that, but yeah. I also have to be doing the boss party, the beginning of semester party, which is hosted by the College of Engineering. But basically, SHPE has to like set up a booth, and it's used to like recruit members and like people play games and stuff. I'm also in charge of all the tailgates. So does all the games that the football team for UH has. The tailgates are usually like Thursdays or Saturdays early. And then as for the spring, the main event is the chili cook-off, which happened in March. and it's just like a cooked chili, and then you have to like you're like judged for it. So my advice or key takeaway is to have a good committee to rely on for help and ideas. I didn't really have like that many people to rely on for my committee just because I had just started at UH and I didn't really know any SHPE members. But as the year like went on, I like met more people and I could rely on them for like the tailgates or just head up for the chili cook-off and stuff like that. Also to establish a good relationship with eBoard because they're the ones that are going to help you to like make sure that the events run smoothly and stuff like that. Make new connections with members, the professionals, and alumni. Also make sure to have good management skills because of course like we are all students first, or some of us have part-time jobs, so you have to make sure you can manage everything and ask for help whenever needed. Come up with new events or ideas that haven't been done before, and most importantly, have fun because I know I would stress myself out, especially for the chili cook-off, and it all ended up turning out like super good. So just have fun with the position. And then what I wish I could have done differently would be to have more fundraisers. But of course, as we all know, the semester got cut short. So I wasn't able to do any more fundraisers. And then I also worked a lot this semester, which kept me from being on campus a lot. So I wasn't able to like do more events because of that too. And yeah, that's it.
All right. Thank you so much, Isa. So the floor is now open again for questions for the engineering events coordinator. All right. In the meantime, Isa, I would like to ask you. So, like events like chili cook-off, like I don't know how to cook. So, what if I want to run for engineering events coordinator? What should I do?
Sorry, you like cut off. Can you repeat
Oh,
it again?
I'm so sorry. So, if I would like to run for the engineering events coordinator, and I don't know how to cook, and I have to plan the chili cook-off, so what should I do?
Honestly, I have never eaten chili in my life before this, but I reached out to Jocelyn, who was the past engineering events coordinator, and she gave me the best recipe. So I guess just like reach out, help, like ask members. A lot of people, I guess, know how to cook chili. So yeah, just like ask for help. Somebody's gonna give you like a good recipe, and it'll turn out pretty good.
So, Isa, how did you also uh, form ideas or come up with ideas on to fundraise money? So, how did you come up with ideas to fundraise money?
Well, the fall semester I did the game night, which I wasn't like original for doing that. That had been like done in the past. And then this semester I did the rodeo tickets. So I was able to get tickets for the rodeo through like just like some other companies. And I guess like just talking to eBoard, like at the shares and eBoard meetings, and like everyone throwing out ideas and like kind of talking about it. Everyone came up with some cool things, and we have some cool fundraisers planned for after spring break that unfortunately like weren't able to happen. But yeah.
I see. Thank you, Isa. That's all being said. I think the floor will be back to Andrea. Thank you, Isa.
Great. And just a quick thing about the career fair chair. Give me 1 second. We do have the career fair committee. Juan and Jocelyn did talk about the main responsibilities of the career fair chair. However, the committee has slightly the same responsibilities. They also go to the meetings. They help plan the career fair. They also wear the red blazers. So if you do have any questions about the career fair committee, go ahead and ask Juan Ramirez or Jocelyn Castillo at the end of this session. But what they spoke about with the career fair chair and the responsibilities is the main thing. It's just that the career fair chair leads this committee for our organization. So just a side note on those. And the next chair we have to speak is the academic chair, Luis Quintanilla. Are you here, Luis?
Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Yes, we
I can hear you.
can.
Okay, cool. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Luis Contreras Quintanilla. I'm the academic chair, and this is a great position. So my main responsibilities for events hosted. So first of all, the main responsibility that I had is like I needed to promote a study red Tuesday for members to bring their friends and do their homework while also having some good food. Also promote different scholarships throughout the year to create a financial awareness. We needed to create some fun events like the one we had, such as academic Olympiads. Like you see right here, our president with the vice president and the secretary and the pictures. Um, Also, we had two other events, one in during fall and one during the spring semester, which are the A raffles, in which we give some prizes to the people that obtain A's throughout either the fall semester or spring semester. Um, Also, I needed to purchase the food that is going to be that was provided at every SRT, and a big thing for the academic year is to help the students in any way with their classes. Um, what else can I say about this position? I think it's pretty cool position because you get to talk to everyone, you get to know everyone's major, the difficulties that they're having in their classes, and with that, you get to know more people that can help those members in their classes to improve their grades. Um, so some advice or key for this position is try to create a good environment where you can do some chismes because there was a lot of chisme over there. Sessions or where the members like to go spend some time with their friends. Try to have a committee that can help you with the food and the setup. Something that the academic chair needs to have is some time on Tuesdays, at least 2 hours uh, prior to SRT, because you really need to get the food. You need to, if you make the food, well, you need to go make it. If you need to purchase it, you need to go get the food, and also you have a budget. So at least probably $60 each SRT, or depending on how much money you want to spend, and also have some people that help you setting up the food and getting the drinks or anything special. Also, another thing for this position is that you just want to have people to have fun in the SRT, and also provide kind of like an environment where people study there. I think that that's what I missed this semester. Um, but some other than that, just relax, have some fun with everyone at SRT. Now, this other part is what do you wish you could have done differently? Okay. So I think I wish I could have done another event such as academic Olympiads this semester, but due to the current situation, I couldn't. Um, I wish I had come up with a database for a scholarship for our members. So I know this semester I only threw out some scholarships through the group me or the Slack, and I don't know if you guys apply to those scholarships or not, but I also needed to encourage all of our members to apply to those scholarships more because sometimes I will just send out the applications or the opportunities and I'll just hear back from like probably 2 or 3 students that I apply to that opportunity or scholarship. And other than that, I wish I could have hosted more workshops with professionals. I know I only had one at the beginning of the semester with Nick, but yeah, and we had like 3 more workshops, but not a lot of people attended to those workshops. But yeah, any questions?
Great. Thank you so much, Luis. So now, if you have any questions, just unmute your mic and speak your questions. So Luis, I know that you had come up with a very awesome event, which is the Academic Olympiads, and it was huge. Like it was 4 organizations involved. And how did you make it a thing? And how did you execute it? And how did you, get so many organizations to participate with you?
So I think that first of all, before planning the event, you need to see if other organizations want to participate or want to be involved in this thing. I know this event was done 2 years ago, and I went to that event. But last year, we didn't have an academic Olympiad, so I wanted to bring it back. And then I talked to some organizations, such as SWE, IEEE, MAS, and basically I contacted the academic chair or like the vice president of every single organization, and I just talked to them and told them like, hey, I have this idea. This is how much it costs. This is what I'm gonna be using. This is the type of questions that I'm gonna be asking during the day. This is the setup, and this is how much money every organization might need for the members to participate. And then the prices, because of course, if you want to encourage your members and other members in every organization, you need to have a price. So that's when we come up with the prices. We gave out food, and it was a fun event. There was a lot of people involved in that event. I remember that. Your truck. But yeah.
So as an academic chair, so how did you improve the academic aspect of SHPE?
Okay, so the way I improved this, I think I knew a lot of people, seniors, juniors, sophomores, and I knew a lot of people that were kind of like facilitators, TAs for different classes, and that had taken classes that some of our members were taking right now. So I try to connect those people with our members so they could receive some help.
All right, thank you so much, Luis. And now the floor is back to Andrea.
All right, thank you, Luis. And now the next chair is Carlos Reina, the media chair. Carlos, are you there?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So hey everybody. So I really encourage all creative minds. Those, we're in engineering, but I know there's a lot of people there who are very artistic. Really encourage you to try to go for this position. As a media chair, your main responsibilities are, so obviously you take pictures and videos during the events. And then you use those pictures and your videos to make promotional videos for future events. One thing that we did for this semester, I ended up going to the Lone Star Showdown practices and taking some pictures and some videos, and we made a promo video for the Lone Star Showdown for when we went over there to Austin to represent. And then once we were there, I made another promotional video to show how it went and all the fun that it was. I did a recap video of one of the general meetings that was pretty cool too. So yeah, you use those pictures and those videos really however you want. One of the main responsibilities too is to take professional headshots during an event with the professional chair. That's a thing that I think we've gotten really good responses from the other students. People go and get their resumes looked after, and they go talk to recruiters and to alumni and to professionals to kind of get tips on their elevator speeches and everything. And once you're waiting, you can get your headshot done. So instead of people just standing around doing nothing, we've integrated this into the professional chairs event, and it's been going great. Um, Also, one of your main responsibilities would be to maintain the trifold board that we use for recruiting. Currently, we have a wooden trifold board. It's pretty cool, and it's very sturdy. We ended up cleaning it up with my committee. We ended up cleaning it up, updating the pictures. It was a little broken in a few places, so we fixed that up as well. So kind of just maintaining that, so whenever you go for Cats Back or recruiting for high school students, you can take that trifold board and it looks very nice, looks professional, and you can kind of, you know, attract potential SHPE members to come in and be like, oh, cool, that looks interesting. Let me see what that's all about. And lastly, probably your last main responsibility is you have to make an end of the year video that's going to be used for the annual banquet. Obviously, this year we're not having an in-person banquet, but the video is still coming in through. We're finishing it up right now with the help of my committee. So those are your main responsibilities for the advice and takeaway. So this position, again, it's relatively new and it's really open to artistic interpretation. If you want to take this chair position in a different direction, if you kind of want to step away from videos and you want to focus more on pictures and something like that, that's really up to you. If you want to focus more on videos of people telling them their experiences in SHPE, that's cool too. It's really whatever you want. I really encourage, like I said, those artistic minds to really apply and really try to go for this chair position. So what I wish I would have done differently. So first and foremost, I wish I would have created more social media content. This was my last semester, obviously, with U of H. So I was really busy with capstone project and a few other things, applying for jobs and all that. But I loved it. I really loved making a few promotional videos. I love taking all the pictures, clipping them together, splitting them up and all this and that, and a soundtrack and creating something that didn't exist before. And I just wish I had more time. I probably had the time, honestly, but I just didn't make the time for it. So I really hate that I didn't do it because honestly, it was fun. So I should have done more of that. Something else I would have done differently, I wish I would have collaborated more with the other chairs to make videos. So I got with Emar to make a promotional video, right? He's athletic chair. We got together. We said, hey, let's meet up this day, take a picture of your boys and all that, your girls, and let's make something happen. And then we also did a, like I said, an event with the professional chair. And I just wish I would have done that with maybe more, if not all of the other chairs. I wish we would have made a promotional video for like Noche de Ciencias. I wish we would have made a promotional video for everything. Also, one thing that really was a bummer is that we actually had planned a chairs and e-board photo shoot for this year. We were actually going to have, like, every month we were going to have a different theme. And obviously we couldn't do it because of COVID-19. It got cut short. And I wish we would have done it sooner. We were actually scheduled to take a like a cowboy western themed photo shoot of all the e-board and the chairs the week after COVID shut down the school. So if COVID would have been held off 2 more weeks, we would have done like a photo shoot. And I think that would have been a lot of fun. We had like a Valentine's Day photo shoot planned too. That would have been pretty cool. And just little silly stuff like that is what you can do as the media chair. So just to explain a few of the pictures that we have here, obviously your responsibility is to you have to take the group picture. That's one of your main responsibilities. I know a lot of the times it's like, oh, who's gonna take the picture? You take the picture, or I take the picture, you know. So you are the designated person to take the group picture at meetings, at official events. So unfortunately, that usually means that you're not in a lot of the pictures. So maybe a tripod would be a good investment if you really want to be in the pictures. I really don't care. I've been in enough pictures in my life. I kind of don't like pictures of myself, so it was perfect for me. Here we have on the left the picture of the professional headshots that we did. This is not mandatory, but I ended up finding a really good coupon for one of those ring lights that just kind of illuminates the face for professional headshots pretty well. What else? Oh, and my best friend this semester was iMovie on my iPhone. I just got all the pictures and the videos on my phone, and I would just edit them there, while watching Netflix as the background noise. If I'm rewatching a show, I would just play that in the background, and I would just edit the videos and all that. And hopefully, I think it's best if you know how to already edit videos. You don't have to be a master mixer or anything like that. It's pretty simple. You just kind of lay them all out, and then you just kind of shorten them and lengthen them up. If you don't know how, you can always just Google it. I think it's best if you already know how to do it, but don't let this be a stopping point for you. Like, oh, I wish I have so many ideas, but I just don't know how to edit videos. That's fine. You can always learn that. No, that's literally what university is. You're interested in something. Okay, well, let's find out who can teach you. So if you ever need help, something like that, we got you.
All right, Carlos, that's all the time we have for your presentation, but we are moving to the question and answer portion. So Wayne.
Oh, yes, Carlos. So now we move on to for the questions. So the floor is open. If you are having questions, please speak up now.
Yeah. Anyone interested in the media chair position?
I have a question for Carlos. So we do have the position of communications director at eBoard. What do you think are the main differences since you work closely with Nata, the past year's communications director in certain projects? What do you think are the main differences between the media chair and the communications director?
Okay. I actually thought a lot about this too, because I think Nata and I were trying to figure it out as well. But I think as the media chair, you're more of a grunt, and if you're in the communication director, you're more of the diplomatic person. So I guess part of being part of eBoard, you take care of a lot of the overhead details, I guess you can say, the planning, and then in media chair you kind of like now you get to actually execute the master plan that the eBoard has, and then you have like I said again, creative flexibility on how to carry out that plan. If the eBoard says, hey, Carlos, we have to switch up how we have to bring more people into our social media. They're like, okay, well, cool. Well, let's make more videos. Let's make funner stuff. Let's be more creative. And then you're the one who executes that stuff. I saw someone ask the question, is Adobe background in Photoshop a plus? I mean, Premiere and Photoshop? Yes, that is. And also remember that you're going to have a committee. I had a committee, and it's been years since I used Photoshop. And one of my committee members was like a master at it, right? So I was like, hey, I have an idea, and I kind of sketched it up for him. And I gave him a few days, and he came back with like literally what I had seen in my mind. He had created it in Photoshop. So it's a huge plus if you know how to do that. But like I said, you're still going to have a committee. So if you're interested at all, I really encourage you to run or to be part of the committee.
And could I add something to that?
Yes.
So this year, I'm gonna, as communications director, I also want to like add more responsibilities to the media chair because I want to take advantage of Snapchat a lot. So that's going to be another big thing that I'm really going to have the media chair focusing on is Snapchatting a lot of our events so that people can see them in real time. And so I'm also going to have more ideas for that. So just keep a lookout.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Nina. And thank you so much, Carlos. And I forgot to shout out to Carlos because he just graduated today and he's here. Thank you, Carlos. Congratulations.
Goku.
Oh, And also like all the beautiful pictures that you see on our social medias, on our websites, and everything is from Carlos. And we're going to have a video coming up in our virtual banquet this Saturday, and that is all Carlos. So please give shout out the shout out. And one more thing, I want to remind everyone. I know the time to ask the chair is very short. It's only 3 minutes. And if you have any question later on, you can ask at the end, because at the end we will have about 10 to 15 minutes for all questions for all chairs. And now the floor is back to Andrea.
All right, thank you so much, Carlos, and congratulations. The next chair we're going to be hearing from is the mentorship coordinator, Daisy Alvarez. Daisy, are you there?
Yes, can y'all hear me? Okay. Hey
Yes.
guys, okay, so I was this past year's mentorship coordinator. So for those of you who don't really know what it is, so basically we're pairing up like an older member with a younger member or an upperclassman with the underclassman. So it's basically to help them throughout their college journey, career, anything they may need, right? And so that's like the biggest thing of this whole position. So you start off by like having an application that you usually send out to like your secretary for like the members to be able to just input like their own responses. So you kind of get an idea for how to pair these people before you even like start the whole process, right? And then you have your speed dating event. So this isn't like real dating, but we kind of like call it that just because the way it's set up, it works out that way. And then after that, you figure out who you're pairing up with who. So that's kind of a big responsibility. Like you're the matchmaker. So you really want to like during the application, ask good questions and have it set up so that you can see qualities in people and like try to find the best pairs for them, you know, so you can like help them the best way you can. And then after that, you have like a little reveal party. And this is where you announce who's with who and like how the pairs are going to work and all that, right? And you can kind of lay out the basic rules and the way everything's going to work out for the rest of the year, right? And so along with that, there's also like a scholarship that goes off to the best pair of this whole school year. So that's where challenges come into play. This is where like different events come into play and like there's like a point system involved with that. So you have to make sure that you're staying on top of that and like being creative and coming up with different challenges to make sure your pairs are engaged and they're interacting with each other and there is some type of progress, whether that be like academically, socially, professionally, whatever the mentee may need, you know? So another thing is the posada that we had at the end of the fall semester. So the mentorship coordinator is in charge of organizing this whole event. So basically, for those of you who don't know what a posada is, it's like a Christmas time celebration. But the way that we incorporate it is mostly just to bring like the familia together one last time before we go off for the holidays, right? And so during this time, we have fun little events. Like we had like a gift exchange this past year. We have piñatas, we have food. So it's just kind of like a little party we have at the end of the semester, right? So those are the biggest things. And then aside from that, like you incorporate your own ideas, you know? So some advice that I would have is, as I said, like incorporate your own ideas. So the way I did something doesn't necessarily mean that that's the way you have to do it, right? So like the speed dating event, it's called the speed dating event because that's the way it's set up. Like you have people who are rotating around, just meeting different people, right? But you can maybe have it a different way. The posada, you can have your own events, like different things like that, right? And then just make sure that you're managing your time and your responsibilities. And I feel like we've all said this already, but just make sure you're like on top of your own schedule because you say you're going to do something and then you say, oh, I'm going to do it later, right? But just make sure you stay on top of it. And if you do get overwhelmed, know that the other chairs and e-board is there to help you out. Like the whole point of having such a large team, leadership team, is so that we can help each other out and nobody gets too stressed so that our events come out as we plan them, right? And just remember, like, you're making a difference for some of these people, you know? You never know how somebody starts off and then, like, they might be the shyest person, but they get paired up with a really good mentor. And then, like, before you know it, they're another leader, you know? So just really, like, think about what you're doing and, like, why you're doing it for, right? So I guess some things I wish I would have done differently was just have more, like, events for the pairs themselves. So I tried to have like a track and field event this spring semester, but we couldn't, right? So that was just like an idea that I had to make sure that our pairs interacted more and like we could get some points going off of there. So like things like that would have helped, right? And then in the fall we had the piñata event. So that was something that was like open to everybody, but you know, it was kind of to guide mentors and mentees to come to these events. So it's just like little events that you can have that can be for the pairs, right? And just like incorporate more challenges. So as I was talking about like the point system, so that's really what helped me keep track of like which pairs were doing well and which pairs weren't really interacting, weren't really like coming out to things, right? So the challenges were something really good and really fun, I thought. So I was just like sending out like, oh, scavenger hunt, like the SHPE places, right? And then the mentor like, okay, like critique the mentee's resume. So like little things that could make them interact and like get to know each other better and like help each other out, you know? So I try to incorporate like both like a professional aspect, but also a fun aspect. Sometimes I slacked with like creativity because I just couldn't think. But yeah, just like don't be afraid to incorporate new ideas or to ask your other chairs or your e-board for help if you ever like run out of ideas, right? But yeah, that's basically it. Y'all have any questions?
Thank you so much, Daisy. And you all feel free to unmute your mic and ask your questions. So Daisy, I know as our mentorship chair, you have to manage a lot of pairs. And how did you do that?
Yeah, okay, so whenever if you do get a chair position, you immediately get a Google Drive connected to like eBoard and everybody, right? So I really utilized that to like make sure I had my things organized. So like you get a budget and you get like your responsibilities, your tasks, all this stuff, right? So just like I use that like if I had ideas or just like challenge ideas, I would go in there and like write them down so I wouldn't forget. And then the same way, like I had my Google Docs or my Google application for like the mentor mentees, right? So I just kept everything there and like anything I had to do, I made sure to like go on Google Drive and like you can access it through your phone or anything. So it's pretty like accessible, you know? Just make sure you use it and it helps you just stay on top of things. Like I had a whole like Excel sheet filled out with like my mentors and my mentees. So it's just like little things like do a little bit extra just to stay organized that actually end up helping. And like when it comes to like end of semester things and like you need like data, you need like numbers and stuff, like you can go back to that and just like check it out, you know? So that's something that I would make sure to just stay on top of. Yeah. Things.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Hey, what would you say? What did you like most about your position, and what was kind of the highlight during your time as mentorship coordinator?
Okay, so my favorite, okay, well, let me start with the highlights. So I really liked the reveal party. I thought it was really fun and it was really cool seeing people get excited for who they were paired with. And then aside from like that, I think just seeing people that because sometimes to be honest, like I didn't really know some of the new members. So I was kind of hoping like based on the applications and based on like what I had seen and like heard that I would do a good job pairing them up. And then seeing them actually go out and like interacting and actually completing these challenges, showing up to SHPE events together, like seeing that I was actually able to contribute to like a new relationship and able to contribute to helping out like a mentee because the mentor is essentially in charge of like guiding them, I guess, but like just knowing that I was able to make that possible was really good. Just felt nice, you know? But yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, thank you so much, Daisy. And the floor is back to Andrea.
All right. So thank you, Daisy. And the next chair we have is professional chair, Catherine Sequeira. Catherine, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Catherine Sequeira, the professional chair for 2019-2020 semester. And well, some of the main responsibilities that you'll have as professional chair is create or prepare a resume critique or mock interview before the career fair. previous chairs have done it a little bit different. Some people do it separately. First, there was a critique, then a mock interview. I personally prefer to do the event together, give a little more time to our members to actually engage with the professional and talk a little bit more, get the resume critique, but at the same time, ask some mock interview questions and get feedback on that. So some recommendation for that is plan definitely ahead, because these kind of events, you need, depending on how you do it, everybody does it differently, but you need at least 15 professionals, depends if you do it during shifts. You can also coordinate with the VP, sorry, to maybe get a company to come and do a resume critique with you. However, then at the end of the day, you'll have to coordinate all the professionals to come. And professionals have different schedules. Sometimes it's complicated for them to come during a weekday, and sometimes they just tired at the end of the day, and it's complicated for them to come to school. So you want to get a good schedule so that professionals can come, but also your members can come. I personally, during the spring semester and the fall semester, I did it on a Friday afternoon. So it was a little bit easier for some professionals, since there's a good group of them that they are off on Fridays, and it was a little bit easier to get them to come. However, sometimes it's harder to also get some members to come on Friday. So it's that opportunity cost kind of thing, where you want to decide what you want a good amount of professionals, but you also want a good amount of members. So at the end of the day, that's totally up to your decision. One of the other events that you need is a career fair preparation, which is especially directed for freshmen and sophomore new members of the organization, so that you want to kind of give them a taste. What is the career fair look like? How you should prepare for it? Why you should go, especially because it happens to many of us that we're like, well, I'm a freshman, I'm a sophomore. Why would I need to go to a career fair right now? I'm not looking for a job right now. I encourage everybody to go just for the fact that you want to get those little things. If you want to make those mistakes that you make on your first career fair, you want to make it whenever you're a freshman or a sophomore, no, whenever you actually, like, you're a senior and you actually get a job right now. So you can host this event different ways. Ricardo, who was the previous chair, he hosted more like a presentation kind of thing, and people would ask questions. I personally liked the way that I did it was like a panel. So I invited seniors and people who had leadership in SHPE or were leaders at, and pretty much ask them questions, kind of like a conversation kind of thing, like a panel, and then people would ask also questions from the other side. I put as the main responsibilities networking opportunities, because it is on the professional chair, create events that create a better network for members. So this is when it comes to your creativity of which kind of events you want to create. You want to have maybe a coffee chat, maybe you want to just create a group meet, maybe you different things, but the idea is that you increase the network that our members have. Company tours, this is directly work with the VPE. This year we had two. I remember there is the Eton company tour, but we also had another one. I believe it was a summer year. I'm not super sure right now. But you have to coordinate with the VP. They coordinate the the company tour on the other side. And then pretty much you get the members together to come to this event. Everybody has to be super responsible on the fact that most of the time for company tours, they give us just a certain amount of people that can go to the event. So you don't want anybody to be canceled in the last minute, because that could be the spot for someone else that really wanted to go. So you want people to come in on that sense. And one thing that people are not aware is that one of the responsibilities of the professional chair is to create the professional newsletter. So as the same way that the secretary has the responsibility of creating the newsletter for our members, the professional chair has the responsibility of creating the professional newsletter for alumni and professionals. So pretty much this is kind of like the way that we reach out to professionals to say like, hey, we have this event coming up that we would like to invite you. We have this resume critique. Would you like to volunteer for this? Kind of that thing. On that sense, the professional newsletter doesn't necessarily have to be sent every week the same way that the regular newsletter is sent. The way that I try to do it during the semester, I would send it either every 2 weeks if we were close to an event that we really needed something, or once a month kind of thing, because you don't want to just like send a bunch of emails and kind of spam them, but at the same time you want to maintain them on what was going on and everything. So a few takeaways of what had happened in my position is, first, encourage curiosity and ideas. Think of how can you improve the network of our members, how can you make them better at talking professionally, how can you make them more comfortable with talking to professionals and going on in their career life. Second, details are super important. Those little things, such as like, for example, after every resume critique, I will give them a thank you letter to professionals that attended. Those little things actually help a lot because the professional taken into consideration. And plan ahead, because as I said, you're talking to a bunch of professionals that you want to come up to event. And sometimes getting the professionals can be really complicated. So you need to start planning events like a month and a half before if you want to actually retell the numbers of professionals that you want. And things that I would have done differently, I wish I had a little more contact directly with the professionals. All the time that I was dealing with them was like through either Ivor or through other means. I wish I have been more upfront talking to them directly in the sense. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Kat. So the floor is now open again for anyone to ask questions to our professional chair.
I have a question.
Okay.
So as professional chair, what would you say were some of the biggest challenges and or obstacles that you faced throughout the year?
So, well, I mean, I think one of them is definitely time management, but I think all of us, like chairs, Ivor, everybody face that, just in the sense that on the way to my final years, especially this last semester that I'm also dealing with capstone, it was quite complicated, especially since I had to plan ahead for different events. I would have to coordinate my student life with like also chair life. But besides that, I would have said definitely planning. So every Monday, the way that I would do things is that I would dedicate at least 2 hours to just, okay, what do I need to do this week for SHPE? I would send out a bunch of emails. So another thing is that you have to send a lot of emails. Actually, like coordinating with people, I would send out a bunch of emails to try to get professionals for events. So actually, on the sense of planning ahead and looking, what do I need to do right now in order to have 20 professionals, I don't know, by the end of this month. I would have to plan ahead and be strategic about it, on the sense of like, I need to send these emails, I need to contact these people, I need to get in contact with this Ivor that actually has a contact of this company, and maybe they can come and help out in the event. So I think that was a thing that it was most challenging, but also like taught me a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. So we only have time left for one question.
Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
So what did you or who did you think was a good point of contact within the e-board or resource to be able to solve problems for this chair position?
Definitely the VP, the vice president external, because that person is the person in contact with companies, and is a person that brings companies to talk, companies to donate to SHPE, companies to actually help out. So since he's a person that is directly in contact to many different companies, I would definitely say that person. And also the chapter representative, at least this year, I'm not completely sure if the chapter representative is always in charge of managing kind of the professional, in that sense. It was a group meeting, it was Slack, but the chapter representative was also a big point of contact. And not directly with an e-board, but William, I forgot his last name. William is a person that is the university representative for SHPE Houston. he was a huge point of contact because I would talk to him, and actually I would tell him, okay, I need 10 more people for the resume critique next week. And he would talk along the people on SHPE Houston and kind of reach out and bring people.
Thank you.
Yeah, so definitely the SHPE Houston is also a very good contact. The SHPE Houston chapter, professional chapter. So yeah, thank you so much, Kat. And we are now back to Andrea.
All right, thank you, Kat. And the next chair is going to be presenting are the SHPE Junior co-chairs, Tamila Ndestoy and Cruz Lopez. Are you both here?
Yes.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Or
yes.
Okay, I guess I can start. Hi everyone, I'm Tamila Ndestoy, and this year I was serving for 2019-2020 as one of the SHPE Junior co-chairs, along with Cruz Lopez. So if I have to describe the main responsibilities or events that we hosted throughout the semester, so we normally do bi-monthly meetings. We're currently sponsoring 2 high schools, which is Energy Institute and Northside. So we try to make it where we have one event at each of the high schools at least once a month. And then our ideal plan was to have an e-board so that they can also host their own events within the school, maybe also like once a month. So like each high school will have like bi-monthly meetings in there. So that those meetings can be workshops, Q&A panels, info sessions. Just get creative with those events that you're hosting in there. Definitely something that I wish we could have done is U of H tours. I would recommend one in the fall before November the 15th, because that is priority deadline to apply for the University of Houston. So basically, like, bring the students to the campus, get to know the campus better, the Collin College of Engineering better, so that they have a better perspective. And then we have future cougars in there from the SHPE Junior chapters. And November 15th, once again, is that priority deadline. And also one over the spring. So those students who might still have not decided yet what they want to do, maybe bringing them over in the spring, then give them like that perspective, like, yes, this is what I want to do, come to U of H. And the event that we were most excited about, but because of Corona, we were not able to host, is the boat regatta. This happens on during the spring semester at the end. And it's basically, I don't know if y'all did it in high school, where you have to build like that boat with like cardboard, and then you have to do like the competition of like getting it from one side to the other of the pool without sinking. So we were pretty excited about it, but yeah, this happened. So yes. Cruz, can you tell some of the takeaways or advices?
Yeah, so pretty much the events you hold are to kind of inspire them and introduce them to STEM. A lot of them don't know what STEM is, and they're kind of under-resourced. So you these workshops and the Q&A panels and the info sessions, they're all to like it says, inspire them and try to get them to go into STEM and give them information and whatnot. Now, one of the advices I highly encourage is to have constant communication with the advisors, mainly with the advisors and also the students. Through the advisors, we would send emails back and forth, call each other, and for the students, we would use Remind 101, which I felt like really got the information out there to the students. We struggled a lot this year with advisors. We had at Energy Institute, we had to switch advisors, and I believe this new advisor is really interested in SHPE Junior. So I'm really excited for her next year and for the next SHPE Junior co-chairs. As of Northside, we were still kind of struggling. The advisors we had weren't so great. We went to go talk to the vice principals, and we were trying to figure out if we can get another advisor. You definitely need a committee and volunteers. I feel like the students really appreciate it when we have a lot of volunteers there, and the interactions the volunteers have with the students kind of keeps the event more keeps it going, keeps it more interesting, and Yeah. So, and also just have fun with it. Have fun talking to the students. There's a lot of students out there who like need to hear some college students advice, and yeah. So what could I have done differently? I wish we could have created an e-board within the high schools. Mainly we struggled with that because it goes back to the same reason of having better advisors. With the advisors, we get a lot of, they help us out a lot because they communicate with the students and kind of organize the e-board, and pretty much the students will go to the advisor if they have any questions. So without an advisor, the SHPE juniors organizations at the high schools are not so great. However, I wish we had more in-person events and kind of hands-on activities. I feel like a lot of students really had fun and enjoyed the hands-on activities. And like Taimi said, we had been wanting to create a database of resources with scholarships and opportunities. I feel like we did a great job of announcing them and promoting them. But I wish we had a database of like a list of the scholarships that they could go through.
Yeah, and another something that I wish we could have done different as well, and I hope that, you know, I'm here as part of the new e-board, so I'm definitely looking forward for the next coaches that are coming out, because I definitely encourage to have more SHPE junior chapters. Like you guys get to see it doesn't take a lot of work as long as we are planning ahead of time. It's definitely doable. And like Cruz mentioned, we are inspiring them. And these SHPE junior students, those are the future SHPE U of H students. So if we're bringing them since the earlier years, then we'll have even better leaders in the organization. They will have a higher or stronger foundation if they start since like SHPE junior in the high schools. So definitely that creating more chapters or maybe doing more outreach events in some other schools that not necessarily we have like a SHPE junior chapter established. So right now we're open to questions. So if anyone have any questions, feel free to ask us anything.
I have a question, y'all. So I know that even through our organizations at U of H, we notice a trend of where people stop coming to certain events after the year progresses. So did y'all notice this trend with the SHPE junior chapters, and how did y'all deal with it?
I can answer definitely on behalf of the Energy Institute, where we have the biggest turnout. To be honest, and maybe to a surprise of many of us, the students' behavior is different than ours. I know like in our regular meetings, that turns out to be something that happens often. But for the SHPE junior students, I believe the turnout was like, it stayed like, what is that called, stable throughout the semester, at least during the fall, because that's when mainly we were doing activities in there. But you know, life happens, and also we all, whether in high school or in college, we have final exams and we have projects and we have things like that coming up. So I think it is a matter of be on the lookout, be creative. How can you engage them? Like, hey, come out to this event, not only because of the food, because we might think that that's the main reason why some high schoolers come to event. I don't blame them. Maybe we used to do it before. But basically, definitely just be creative. Like, create events, workshops, panels, sessions that definitely, you know, it will favor them. And I think that's a good way of engaging them. I don't know if you have anything to add in there, Cruz.
Thank you. We are running. I'm so sorry. We are running short on time. So so right now I would like to have we would have time for one more question from the audience. If not, we're gonna move on. So I know that SHPE is a great way to make impact. And, you know, think back at the time you was in high school, you didn't have any guidance. And this is a great position that you are a college student can come back to high school and inspire others, and also helping the high school students can figure their career and also helping them out. So any questions from the audience? If not, the floor is back to you, Andrea. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Cruz and Taimi. And next up, we have the College of Technology liaison, Fernando Bell. Fernando, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, so I'm the College of Technology chair. I'm the first ever College of Technology chair. Essentially what my position is I'm basically the bridge between the COT and engineering and SHPE itself. So what my major role is to keep faculty in the COT well informed of what our organization is doing at the time, what events we have planned, and also recruiting future students and getting them involved in SHPE. So I know wrote a whole essay over here, but I'm just gonna dumb it down. And so there's a few main events that I was in charge of and that I have to attend. So one of them was the Cougar Tech meetings, and those happen monthly. That happens in the fall and spring. And so basically what that is just basically getting with the faculty of the College of Technology and informing them of what events you have coming up, talk to other student orgs, and just share ideas. And that happens for an hour, so it's not too long either. Each semester, one time a semester, there's the Industrial Advisory Board meeting, which is basically where the donors of our college meet up with the student orgs, and you just get to sit down and connect with them and see what connections you can build with them. The next one is the College of Technology Career Fair, which happens in the fall and spring. So that one, you just work with different student orgs within the college and just try to make sure things run smoothly. What I did is, or what I would have tried to do is keep track of all the SHPE members that are volunteering for the career fair, so they can get their respective points. One of the biggest recruitment events at the college is Tech Blast, which is like a Cougar Carnival. And so you get a chance to actually like talk to students, tell them what SHPE's about, and try to get them involved. And that happens in the fall. Then there's Grill Fest, which is basically like engineering's boss party. And so it's actually a really cool event where you get to socialize with students, faculty, and sometimes there's companies that come out and they just like try to have a good time with all the students. So it's a really fun time. And then with that, all you have to do is just get with the BPI and plan out what SHPE's involvement in this particular event is. And then there's the student organizations banquet, which anybody in SHPE can go to. It's a free meal. It's basically just a celebration event at the end of the year. So my advice and key takeaways from the position was throughout the year, I wasn't too sure what I was supposed to do, but the e-board is always there to help you, and they kind of guided me into planning out different events. So I was able to partner with different student orgs to do like professional events. We got the Baylor College of Medicine to actually bring out doctors and students in the medical field. And that's something I planned out with another student organization. And basically, it's just a really good way to connect with different people because you'll find out that there's other student orgs and other people that are just involved, and they want to make sure that their events goes well. And you meet those people and the professionals that attend the actual events. And so I felt that it was a good way to develop my professional skills and gain more connections at the same time. Something I would have done differently, I definitely would have partnered up with more student orgs. In the College of Technology, you'll see it's kind of like everyone likes to get together. We're kind of like in our own group. Engineering has their own group as well. And so if you can partner with them and tell them like, hey, SHPE is for everyone, we're an inclusive organization. I wanted to do that more, definitely get more organizations behind us. Advice and key takeaways was, some of the people that you meet is somebody that you'll have a relationship for a really long time. I was thankful enough to meet some people at the College of Technology and different student organizations that I wouldn't have met otherwise. And I consider them really good friends right now. So SHPE definitely helped me develop that relationship in the COT. And then we also were able to recruit some amazing members, Imar, Raimundo, they're part of the now exec board. So it's definitely a position that's growing, and I would like to see in the future.
Well, thank you so much, Fernando. You didn't mention me, but anyways, now we open the floor for the questions for the COT. So if you are from the College of COT and you're interested in becoming the COT liaison, please unmute your mic and ask your questions. Don't be shy. So Fernando, as the COT liaison, what was the best thing that you have done?
The best thing I've done, I think it was building relationships with different professionals. Being at career fairs, you get the advantage of like actually sitting down with them and having a whole meal with them, like because all the student orgs get to pick the top 3 members out of their orgs to go eat and actually talk to these professionals during career fair. And so that was one of the best things I got to do as my time as a College of Technology chair.
Any more questions? If not, by the way, you can you don't have to come up with a question right now. You remember we still have 10 to 15 minutes at the end of the whole meeting, so that you can ask all the general questions to all chairs. So please stay tuned. And now I would pass the floor back to Andrea. Thank you.
All right, and now to our last chair, the social chair. Unfortunately, Carolina couldn't be here to present today, but Miguel Arias is here to sub in for her. Miguel, are you there?
Yeah. So you hear me, Andrea, and everybody else?
Yes.
All right. So for the social chair position, so I was a social chair like 2 years ago. Well, 1 year ago. And basically, based on what happens on the position, basically try to plan an event every once a month. Plan it with time, that's for sure. The first social begins in the summer. So basically the first event that you're going to be looking into is the SHPE kickball event. And then there's going to be a bowling event that you're going to co-host with the SHPE Houston Professional chapter as well. After that, there's other collaborations that, you could probably do with organizations and your chairs. Like, for example, Piñata Night and also the game night. Fundraising events as well occurs. The social chair means to, fundraise money as well through date auctions. There's like some, restaurants that, like the Pink's Pizza and so on that, plan events in order to fundraise that money for scholarships, like the ones we're going to have this upcoming Saturday given out. The key takeaways, according to Carolina, is that just to have fun in this position. So this is one of the funnest positions that I loved when I was in it, because you get to interact with a lot of members. You get to meet a lot of different mindsets. Do not be afraid to be creative with your events. So like if you see that a new event can happen, bring it up to the e-board. As for advice, is it a something that we should go look into or not? And do not procrastinate and manage your time wisely. So basically, don't leave everything to the last minute. Work on it as soon as possible. Especially pick the dates you want to have your events as well, because there's an event tracker for those chairs, and that's where you start picking the dates in which you want to have your events. And have a good committee. So have a good team that can back you up, especially for the date auction, because that's the team that's going to help you fundraise the most money. And then the goal for that date auction is basically to beat the following year, to beat the last year's date auction number. So basically that's the challenge every year, to improve. And I know Carolina, she posted this, she said, I wish I would have been more creative with certain events and actually enjoy them instead of getting stressed. From my perspective, Carolina did an amazing job. Definitely, she did great things this year. She managed to raise more money than I did in the day auction. But definitely, take some steps to relax. No stress. Plan ahead, and you'll be fine. Definitely, this position is really enjoyable. There's a lot of work that can be done. There is new events that you can implement, like she did, like the pinata night with Daisy, and there's other things that you can do. So yeah, William.
All right, thank you so much, Miguel, and also congratulations to Miguel. He just graduated today too. Congratulations on all the hard work that you have done.
All right, thank you.
So, if you have questions specific to the social chair, please you can unmute your mic right now and ask him.
Hey Miguel, I have a question.
Mhm.
So like I have a job, right? I work weekends, so if I wanted to run for this position, do you think that me having a job would interfere with that, or can I make like the events during the week? Like, do you have to follow a certain plan, or is it like based on how you work around it?
Okay. Definitely. So the good thing about this position is that you can start planning the events ahead of time. Like you can plan them basically in the summer already. So all the events you want to have for the fall, you can already pick up the dates you want. So then then you can already know the dates, and you can tell wherever you work, and let them know like, hey, I need these days off. So the good thing about this position, you can plan ahead. Porque the events, they kind of have like a theme of for what month it should happen. So for example, Guys and Girls Night Out, it happens in September. The Halloween Karaoke Night happens on October. So you'll pick a day or throughout there. In November you have the Pinata Night. So you'll pick a day alongside with the date with the mentorship share. But every month it has like its own theme for an event. But you can pick them throughout the summer. So beforehand, just like whoever is a social chair, they'll pick them during the summer, so then they can have the whole schedule set and ready, so they won't be stressing and everything. So, and then that will help you for whoever has a job. You can turn that into your manager and let them know like, hey, I need these days off con tiempo.
Okay, thank you. Congrats also.
Oh, thanks.
All right, Miguel, I do have a questions. So, as the social chair, how did you connect all the members? Because it's always that the first few social events, even before the first general meeting, we had a lot of members. And how do you connect them all?
So it's not about you. When it comes to being the leader, it's more like a thing called we. So use your team. Tell your chairs, tell your colleagues who are chairs, e-board, let them know like, hey, I need help. And what I mean by that is I need help interacting with members. So in a way, try to break off from the chairs, from the e-board, and make sure that we all disperse and talk to members. And that's how you get the leaders to interact more with the members. Just disperse. Make sure everybody is impacted, because just by asking them a question like how you're doing, that goes a long way. But basically using your team of your committee, your chairs, your e-board, and inviting them to the social events, and then like making sure that they help you out and interacting with members, that makes a good impact on the members.
All right, so we still have time for one last questions. Anyone want to step up?
Okay.
If not, I think you are the last chair, and I think you have a message to say, right?
Yeah. So, on behalf of our OLE board, I wanted to tell, now that the chairs are here, right? I wanted to tell these chairs that from our academic year that y'all did an amazing job. I'm really grateful to have been working with y'all. On behalf of my e-board, we love every piece of work y'all did. I know COVID-19, it kind of canceled some events, but regardless, y'all still managed to set goals, accomplish those goals. The vision and mission that y'all had, managed to make in the beginning of each semester, y'all managed to accomplish it. Y'all managed to impact members. Like all these members that that you had on your events and part of your team, like you have impacted them. And I'm really grateful that all the work y'all done, you had done amazing things. And I'm really happy to, be part of this team, especially from with any board. we are happy that y'all did amazing jobs, and we had another chance, we would love to work with y'all again. But y'all did an amazing job. We love y'all. But y'all did amazing. I'm about to tear up.
Thank you.
Tear up. That's why.
Thank you so much, Miggy. Like, you mean a lot to us too. You've put a lot of work. And yeah, congratulations. Today is your big day. We should all celebrate with Miguel.
All right. Tú también, Carlos. And everybody, whoever, if we have any graduates here, congratulations and graduating as well.
All right. So, Andrea, the floor is back to you. Thank
Sorry,
you.
can I add one thing?
Sure.
All right, so in my presentation, I didn't shout out two people. So I want to shout out Oscar Mendez, the chapter rep last year, for helping me out. And shout out Wayne for being a real one. So, oh, and thank you, Miggy, for everything.
Thank you, Fernando.
All right. Thank you, Fernando. All right, and that concludes our chair presentations. We will be having a Q&A session after this short announcement. So to become a chair, application does open tomorrow, and you'll have about a week from tomorrow. So next Friday, the application closes at 5 p.m. We'll probably be sending out the application tomorrow morning, so make sure to keep an eye for that. I believe you can apply to 3 chair positions, so you don't have to only commit to 1. You can apply to 3. And then we are holding interviews the week after, for the next 4 days after Friday, May 15th. So the day after the application closes, we're going to be starting interviews. And in the application, you can actually choose which times are available. So you can choose up to 8 slots of what time you're available to hold an interview with the new e-board. And just as a reminder, we will be making this presentation, this recording, and the application as available as to y'all as much as we can, so that y'all have all the information you can to make the right choices for what chair you'd like to be. And with that, the Q&A session. So if you have any more questions for any of our chairs, make sure to unmute your mic or type it in the chat.
So we are entering to the open forum, so it's open to everyone to ask any question to any chair. It doesn't have to be specifically to any chair. And all the chairs you are now open to. You want to share anything, you want to share your feedbacks, you want to say your words, you want to advise others, please do so.
Yeah, I had a question for Shep Junior co-chair.
Yes, we're here.
Yeah, y'all were mentioning that advisors were some of the kind of the obstacles that y'all were dealing with, that y'all wish that could have been better. How did y'all go about kind of, I guess, moving or communicating or handling the resistance or a less motivated advisor? How did y'all deal with that? What kind of steps did y'all take?
So that's a great question. Thank you for asking, because it was one of the biggest challenges, like you mentioned. So definitely Cruz and our approach was, we always start with shooting emails, as many emails as possible. I guess not to spam them, but just be like, start emailing them. If you don't get a reply, what we personally did, like Cruz mentioned, we show up to the school and we talk to the vice principal, I believe, for like the science department. That was like at the side of Northside. So definitely I would say be willing to go the extra mile, not only for Shep Junior, for any other position, because not everything is going to be easy or smoothly. So for us, that was our confrontation. The extra mile that we did is the advisor that we got assigned was not working properly, so we went and talked to someone above that advisor to see if we can accommodate someone better to be working with. Because I think at the long run, or the point that we're trying to make, is the advisor is our point of contact with the school. This is the way that we get inside the school. If we don't have an advisor, we don't get to do events, we don't get to promote the organization. So advisor is really, really important, but the most important people are the kids, like we call them kids, but they're high schoolers, so a couple year younger than us. So we have to keep that in mind that we need to do, sorry, whatever it takes to make the information available to them. So yeah, that's my advice that I can give there.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And I did have a question just about the applications. About how long would the interviews should they take?
It takes, depending on how much you answer the questions, we'll probably ask about 5 questions depending on the position. So it shouldn't take more than half an hour, just depending on, if not less, depending on the length of your answers and if we have any extra questions based on your responses. If not, we'll let you know based on the position that you apply, the approximation of time that it would take to interview you.
Okay, and one last thing. I'm actually kind of on track to graduate in December. Would I still be able? Would anybody still be able to qualify to kind of run for a position if they can only do it half a semester?
So we usually make it so that it is a year commitment. However, you can still apply depending on the other candidates that apply or your qualifications for the position. It doesn't mean that you won't be able to be a chair at all. It just means that we'll have to find another person to fill in for you in the spring semester if we do decide to go with you as the candidate. I don't think it should discourage you from running at all, although it is a year commitment. If you show the qualifications and you show the skills and the passion for SHPE, I don't think we'll turn you away just because you're graduating in December.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
If any chairs have any advice, you guys can also speak up.
I guess I want to say something. For anyone who's like kind of on the fence about whether they should try to go for a chair position or not, because you're not too, you're like, oh, I've never really been involved in SHPE, or I don't know anybody or anything like that. Doesn't matter, okay? Honestly, I promise you, the most important thing, requirement in being involved in leadership is you just want to do it, okay? If you have that ganas, if you have that irk inside of you, like, man, maybe I should just go for it, you know? I was pretty much on and off, mostly off from SHPE since my first semester. And I completely regret not being more involved in leadership sooner, because honestly, it's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. I made a lot of lifelong friends, and not just with leadership, but with the members. Because when you're in front of people and you're, you know, kind of running a few things and being in leadership, you get to know a lot of members, and you really get to make bonds with the different people. So it's great, you know. So that's probably one of my biggest regrets, not being more involved in SHPE, because I was in SHPE. I was just never as involved. And of course, I used the excuse of, you know, well, I'm too busy or this and that. Well, we're all busy. You know, most of us, you know, we're STEM majors. But when you make time for it, I promise you, your reward is going to be like so great if you just make this commitment. So just go for it. And if you have any reservations, well, you know, talk to any of the e-board or any of the chairs, you know, just speak up. But really, if you're on the fence, just do it. I promise you, it's going to be so rewarding.
I also want to add something. So if at any point, if you do decide to become a chair and at any point you get stuck, like, don't forget that you do have your other chairs to support you and to back you up, to give you ideas, your e-board as well. Or also us, like past chairs, you can always like reach out to us. If it's like your chair specific like question, you can reach out to past chairs like 2-3 years, like, how did you do this? Like, what was the best way to do this? Like, there's so many contacts. You just have to be like willing to ask for the help and like know who your contacts are. So it just starts with like when you're in your chairs and e-board meeting, just like make it vocal that you're struggling if you are, or if you're not struggling, like just know that like everybody's there to support each other, you know? So don't get scared because you don't know how to do a certain thing, because you can figure it out. Like, we're all engineers, or we're all like in college, you know, like we are learning to learn. So yeah, good advice.
I have a question for the professional chair.
Yes.
So, well, first of all, thanks Carlos and Daisy for the tips out there. So for the professional chair, are there connections that have been made already that you can reach out to at the beginning of this position to, you know, to start planning early? Or do you depend on the VP at the time for events with professionals?
So it depends. I would say if there are certainly contacts already made, but it's more on the personal level. Like let's say alumni that, of course, they were part of SHPE and they're now with a certain company, stuff like that. Those connections, they're certainly valuable because at the end of the day, there's the people that actually take the time to come to like or events and networking events and resume critiques and stuff like that. However, when it comes to a company, like for example, just the example that I have in mind, like Dowd has a really great relationship with Chef UH, right? But when it comes to a company itself, that relationship is managed by the VP because since it depends whether they are now involved with a package, they are collaborating with the organization this year or this semester. So those kind of things play a role into the companies coming to talk, or the company has an event with us. Those kind of things actually matter a lot on the sense of actually the company having a presence in one of our events. But individuals that work for that company, that's a total different deal. And those contacts we do have, especially when it comes to alumni. I don't know if I answer your question directly.
Yeah. No, yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely touched on the points. Thank you, Kat.
No worries. Thank you. And I definitely want to encourage everybody to, so one big thing that at the beginning of my position, a lot of people were like, okay, so to be a professional chair, it's like a very strict position because you're dealing with professionals. Actually, if I really took something out from this position is being able to really be comfortable around professionals. At the end of the day, these people are also well in school. They were also college students whenever they were in our position once. And they're great people. Like they like have fun with it and don't be afraid of making jokes with these people and getting comfortable and actually asking how was their day, how are you doing, what things do you like about Chef, what things do you like to do in general. Like at the end of the day, they're also young people. They just want to help out just a younger generation. So definitely don't be scared just because it's a professional position. Just have fun with it also. Yep.
All right, so I might have a question for our chairs. So I know that being a chair is very time commitment thing. So how did you grow personally after being a chair?
Well, um, first of all, I want to say thank you and for the career fair. I mean, it was a great experience. I grew professionally. I got out of my comfort zone to talk to professionals. Um, I got to meet a lot of new people from other organizations like NASB, SWE, which I think is a really good thing to do. You know, just not just SHPE, but just some other organizations. Also, I want to promote our application is coming out after the chairs. So in about 2 to 3 weeks, we put our applications for a career prayer committee. We do interviews as well. So just be on the lookout.
But to answer your question, I would say one of the things that I really learned with this position was just like communication in general. And I know everybody says like communication, but like, you don't take it seriously until you really need to. I feel like I've said this so many times, but like just communicating with like your team and just like learning how to communicate with professionals, because you do get to interact with them, like part of leadership, and communicating with like members. You get out of your comfort zone and you like learn how to communicate with different types of people, you know? So I feel like subconsciously as your chair, you like work on all your other like personal skills without really like meaning to, you know, but it turns out that way. So it's a great experience because you do learn a lot about the organization and like events and stuff, but also you grow yourself. So I would encourage y'all to do it and find something that would help y'all, you know?
Yeah, adding to what JC just said, definitely. I mean, I think communication is a big one, especially in my personal experience. I mean, English is not my first language. I was so freaking afraid of just sending an email before of this position, because I was like, well, this is not the right word to use. How can I make this sound professional? How could I actually be like write this email so it gets to the point, but it actually has the level of professionalism that I wanted to achieve. So those kind of things actually helped me so much. And also after being a chair, I mean, you also learn a lot to improvise. So I was a person that I really like to, like, if I plan this out, I would like this to get in the same kind of way that I plan it, right? So, but that's not the way that things happen, right? Sometimes you plan this professional event that actually was supposed to have, I don't know, 25 professionals, but at the end of the day, just 15 ended up appearing. So you learn to improvise a lot. You learn to actually find a way to make things work in general. And that's a big thing that also your e-board and other chairs are there to also help you during the process of, well, maybe this person didn't show up, but how can we make it seem so all our members can take the most advantage of our event, and at the same time also the event comes out the way that it should be. So improvising and definitely communication. Those are the two things that I learned the most.
I guess I just want to add one last thing. I don't know if many people are aware of this, but I'm a new member. I was a new member when I jumped into this position. Like I say on my speech, Natalia, who she is over here, so shout out to Natalia for bringing me to SHPE last spring semester. So when I saw those applications over the summer open, I was like, I don't even have experience with the organization whatsoever, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. So I feel like many of us are like-minded because we like to make an impact. We like to help others and things like that. So if you're that type of person, definitely join our team because I can't wait to be working with y'all. So yes, just be aware that you're not on this alone. You have a whole team to rely on. So definitely apply for those shares positions. That's what I wanted to say.
To add on to that, I feel like joining the chairs, it was a really great opportunity to meet different members of the organization, and also bond with the rest of the chairs and the e-board. But definitely you get a lot of people come to you to ask you questions, and then it's just a rolling ball from there, a snowball from there. Because you get to meet them, they come to your events, you go to their events, and then by the time you know, y'all are good friends. So it's a really good way to meet members within the organization.
I'm Issa again. Just to add on to what everyone was saying, I would just say that definitely when I first started to be a chair, I was like, no, I'm too much of an introvert to like have a big position in an organization like SHPE. But definitely like just having the support of like e-board, the other chairs, like even the members that I met throughout the semester, just like encouraged me to like keep doing what I was doing and like to do more events. And then talking to like some of the members that I went to RLDC with, and then like hearing how they viewed us whenever like we were the chairs and e-board. It was definitely like a great feeling to have. Like it was like a satisfaction to know that you're really like making a change. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'll add on to that as well. You know, coming in, I was actually new to the university. I had just transferred from Texas Tech, so I really didn't know anybody. And then being in a new position, like a completely new chair position, I didn't know how people would take me. And, you know, I was kind of afraid to a certain point about how I would succeed in my role and how I wanted to, you know, support the support SHPE and everything. And, you know, having like all the chairs and the e-board being there and constantly helping me, you know, helped me get through that adversity and definitely helped me in the long run with all my goals.
I'm gonna add something real quick. You know, being able to be I was the athletic chair, I was the social chair. You're not alone. Definitely, you're not alone. Obviously, we all place challenges in front of us in order to make sure that, you know, we leave an everlasting impact for our members. Pero nunca estás solo. You're never alone. You got your committee, you have your chairs, you have your e-board. Like, you have a big familia that backs you up. Even the members back you up. They go up to you and they're like, "You need help, Miguel? Like, you need something?" Like, they're gonna go up to you and they're gonna ask if you need help. But you're never alone. Definitely, it's a, you know, it changes your, like, it moves you as well, and it helps you find that passion and, you know, strengthen that passion more within SHPE, and be able to inspire others through the chair position. It helps you a lot as well. So in that position, you're not alone though, for sure.
And to start wrapping things up, if no one else has any questions, if you do have questions, feel free to interrupt me. But I just want to let everyone know that if you're thinking of applying for a chair, apply for a chair. Chair positions and the events that they plan, the ideas that they bring, the initiatives they take, they're the main thing why our chapter keeps being so great and recognized through the U of H level and the national level. So it's because of the chairs that we do so many amazing events. We get to meet more members and we get to connect with those members and grow from media. So if you're thinking of running or applying for a chair position, go ahead. If you're scared of the interview process of it, it's okay. I'm sure we were all scared, whether it was doing an interview for a chair or, yes, you can apply to, I believe, 3 positions. It'll say in the application as well. But yeah, we were all terrified at one point, but it is probably the best decision you can take. Take that initiative to apply for the chair position. And yeah, applications open tomorrow. And yes, you can apply to more than one. So,
Also, I received a question from the audience. Will these slides be posted on the Slack?
yes, I mentioned earlier that we will make everything as available to y'all as we can so that y'all can make the right decision of what chair you want to apply for. We will post these slides in the Slack. If you're not a member in the Slack, email us at the chapter email and we can figure why you're not in the Slack yet, but I'm sure almost everyone is. If not, just let us know. But yeah, we'll be posting the slides and the application as well. All right, well, if no one else has any questions, going once, going twice. Okay, that wraps up our chair leadership panel. So thank y'all everyone for coming out. Thank you, Wang, for co-moderating this with me. I appreciate you. And yeah, thank y'all for coming out, and applications open up tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Buenas noches.
Good night, everyone. Take care. See you later.
Good night. Cuídense. Bye.
Good night, guys.
Bye bye.
Take care.